Hey friends, I'm back with another video, and this one is going to be a bit of a mental health video for myself. It's going to be me taking Dabriah and Dildaf along with Daizy and Vanyah, her new friends, just on one of my favorite dungeons, which is the Butcher Block Lost Dungeons of Norath. Why? Because I've been feeling down, and stuff like this cheers me up. Not to mention, who doesn't want to see Dabriah and Dildaf do a dungeon crawl through the crypts that you get from Butcher Block? So without further ado, we're going to interact here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this NPC's name, but we're going to get a high-risk mob count dungeon request adventure, and we gotta kill 55 mobs. There we go. Hit accept, and we're all set. I'm gonna close the window on the other characters, and of course you already know we're on Verona Vi server because that's where Dabriah and Dildaf live, and I'm never gonna try to make another Dabriah and Dildaf on another server. I think that would be sacrilege. So let's just make sure everybody's auto-following, and they're not, because I didn't even set it yet. Come on, guys. They're kind of far already. Alright, so everybody's on auto-follow now. And if you're not familiar, Dabriah is a rogue that I've been playing here for a while, mostly just when doing videos. So she's now up to level 53. And again, I really only play her while filming, except for doing skill ups and stuff, you know, buying things, getting equipment, that sort of thing. That could be done off camera. So who else is on the team? Well, you know, Dildaf, that's the main tank, and he is a mercenary. And then we have Daizy, the drunken ranger, and Vanyah, the bard. I don't know if Vanyah drinks. We haven't gotten to that deep into the relationship where we talk about that kind of stuff. But Daizy drinks. She drinks a lot. She enjoys that stuff. Gotta ask her what her favorite drink is. You know, take her out to an ogre pub for her birthday or something. Wonder what an ogre pub would be like, especially for an elf. I'm sure it wouldn't be great. It's like every minute you're wondering which ogre is going to try to stick a fork in you and take a bite. So we're headed to Elfe, to where the dungeon is, and we got the bard doing cellos so we can run extra fast. So this is funny. Some of my characters that have never been into these zones, travel achievements are going off for Butcher Block and Greater Fate Arc, because some of them I've probably mostly played on Serpent Spine or some other zones. I don't care what anybody says. I really did like Serpent Spine. And I'm going to stick with that because I still like it. I have a lot of characters that are Draken now too. But sometimes, you know, you feel that little bit of nostalgia. That's why I got some Wood Elves now, you know. And I think that's one of the things people love about this game. It's not even so much the game itself. It's the nostalgia. It's, you know, what my life was like back when I first discovered Everquest. It was kind of better. It was better and worse at the same time. For one, I was a hell of a lot younger and probably a good 50 pounds lighter. I got to wear smaller pants, and that was nice. And, you know, there was a lot of nice things about back then. And now can't really compete because, you know, I'm older, I have more aches and pains, and that's not fun. So there's an entrance to the dungeon. I got to click the door so everybody can enter. So here we are. We are in the dungeon, and I'm glad it's one of these. It's more of a crypt and not a one of those awful caves. I hate the caves because they're harder to navigate, especially when you're 3-boxing. So let me check here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So the songs that I'm doing are going to be a slow, it looks like, a haste for the group, a mana and healing song, health and mana song, yep. And what's this? Battle Cry of the Vashir, which I don't remember what it does. Oh, it increases attack speed, which is cumulative with other songs. So let's see what our haste is right now. 171 on this character, on Vanyah the Bard. What is it on 185 on Dabriah? Sweet. And what's Dabriah using these days for weapons? Well, she's got a Gom Durig. That's, you get that on Vexar. And then I got a Fabled Short Sword of the Yakisha. This was recently from the Fabled event, or the anniversary event that we had. So I snagged one of those and sent it to her. So we're all set. We've got Dildaf here, set roles as main tank. I'm set, or Dabriah is set as main assist. I don't know why I consider the main characters I sometimes. So if you say, I say I when I'm playing all the characters, well, I usually refer to that as the primary character. So sorry if that's confusing at times. So yeah, it looks like this is going to be rather easy. That mob went down with a quickness. These guys are only level 48. That's weird. I believe everyone in the group is over level 50. So it's kind of weird. Yeah, so Daisy's 52. Vanyah's 52. Oh, and Dabriah's 53. So she's one level above the other two. Which is good since, you know, Dabriah's the one that has Dildaf and he's the tank. Man, I'm already getting light blues. And I chose the harder dungeon. I chose difficulty high, or whatever it is. Risk high. That's right. They call it risk, not difficulty. Yeah, I chose high risk. But again, I'm not really doing this, you know, thinking, oh, I'm going to get all these levels or anything. This is a mental health video. It's me just cheering myself up. Why? I don't know. I've been feeling kind of stupid lately. Stupid for playing on Oakwind. Kinda. That's part of it. I don't know. There are some toxic players in Everquest. I'll say that. Not all of them are on Oakwind, but it just seems like a good some are. I met a lot of really nice people on Oakwind, though, which I've already mentioned on my channel. People who have done nice things and helped me out, where I got a resurrection and they didn't even want money. So I met a couple of crappy ones recently, and I'm like, okay, so this must be the couple of toxic ones that people mention. And the funny thing is, we're all guilty of this, right? All of us, every one of us. We tend to give attention to the negative over the positive. For example, when we go to a fast food place and order food, and everything is hot and fresh as it should be, we don't normally bring attention to it unless that particular restaurant has a habit of doing a horribly poor job most of the time, because then, that becomes the exception to the rule, and you're like, hey, my food was actually good today. In which case, like, if it's a surprise that the food is good, what are you doing, man? Why are you going there? If it's always bad, don't go anymore. Find a place that doesn't suck. Because that shouldn't be, a thing. Like, don't go anymore if it's consistently bad. I'm already losing my voice again. It mostly just happens when I'm doing videos. I don't know why. I maybe it's a psychological thing or something. I don't know. I have psychosis. Wouldn't that be funny? Anyway, well, it could definitely say why I'm not doing great as far as like getting subscribers and stuff. But that's neither here or there, I guess. But there are other reasons for me to have mental health issues. I actually have a lot. And I've been meaning to have a video where I talk about it. But I'm not going to go in depth while I'm playing a game. I think that's one of those things that you do when you're kind of serious and just sitting in front of the camera. No video game, no window dressing, no gimmick, no nothing. It's just you and the camera. I don't know if I could do that though. I'm like too ridiculous. Which I am. I often use humor to deflect what I'm actually feeling. Which is probably why I'm never taken very seriously. Even when I'm being serious. I don't know. It sounds right in my head. Why do I like this dungeon? I don't know. Because to me, it has that nostalgic old Everquest feel. And you could play it at any level. It scales to you. And I think that's one of the things I like about it. And, you clear the dungeon, and then you could go again, And then you never really outgrow the dungeon. I guess once you're like, is it 60, 65 or something? I think where you really can't keep going anymore. Because it probably will stop working for you after so long. I know I have a button to disarm traps. But I'm not sure where it's at right now. It could be that I don't because I haven't been here with Dabriah. Yeah, I don't know if I've done a Lost Dungeons in Orath with Dabriah yet. But at least I did have enough skill to disarm that trap. So I really hate those traps. And I try to disarm them every chance I get. So, note to all you guys out there, if you do bring a rogue along, especially when you're playing those progression servers, where doing Dungeons in Norath is going to be kind of an important thing, or at least, the trendy thing at that time, bring a rogue, because they could disarm a lot of them traps. They can also pick locks and stuff. As long as the rogue is, worked on those skills, hopefully they have. You would think, any good rogue with some sense would try to work those skills. Shut up. I know that time I took Dabriah. Where was it? I think it was when we went to Old Sibyllis. And yeah, I couldn't open the door because I think my picklock skill was at 70. No, like 40 or 60. I don't know. It wasn't high enough because it had to be at like 1 something, 120, 140, 150, I don't know, to open the door, and it was only at like 40. But I've remedied the problem since then, so at least I'm pretty sure I have. Sometimes I like note that I'm going to do something for a character and I forget. And that's probably an issue because I play too many different characters. Hey, no running away. I think they ran because the cleric healed somebody. Oh, I got an AA point. Essence of Moonlight. That's the stuff that you use to make high elf cultural armor. If I remember correctly, anyway. I don't know if that's for the new cultural or the old cultural. I think that was for the older cultural stuff. I don't even know if you could still make the old cultural stuff. You know what made me so mad about the cultural armor was once I was finally had enough components and levels and stuff, and just mostly components and skill to make cultural armor. What's it called? The Defiant armor was introduced. So yeah, I was that far behind because I'm always working. I work way too much. I was late to the party with making cultural armor, and then the Defiant armor came along, basically rendering cultural armor garbage because the Defiant armor had way better stats. Like one of the things that kind of bugs me about cultural armor is if they could just make augs or something that you can add to cultural armor that would give it things like focus effects, hit point and mana regen, and things like that, then the cultural armor could be similar to Defiant armor. Oh, here's a rare named Bloodguard Flesh Essence. But when you have cultural, it doesn't have any of those things. The only way I found at all is Gates of Discord. When that came out, you were able to get some crappy augs, but then you can work them with trade skills to where they do have a focus effect and even like a hit point regen or mana regen. But you can add those to regular Defiant armor, thus doubling whatever hit point or mana regen they had, so the cultural is still behind. And yeah, the cultural did have that third slot, but I was never able to get those augs because I think all of them were raid augs. Now, if I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments. I never quite understood how you were supposed to do that last aug that was supposed to have some of the good stats. But they also just made trying to do cultural kind of difficult in the first place, because if you remember, you had to go and quest for a cultural tome or book or whatever it was, so you can make your cultural patterns. It's like you had to craft your patterns even, or whatever they were, or your molds, and then you had to hang on to like all these molds and patterns. And God forbid you had tailoring ones and smithing ones. You can have some for chain and some for plate. It's just so much, and you had to keep all that shit in your inventory. And it was just, I think it was, they were expecting people to have too much. And that was back before we had these awesome extra planar trade satchels that have 32 slots for trade stuff. And maybe that's why they added those bags. I don't know for sure. I sure know that having these bags does make life easier, especially if you do trade skills. Kind of wish we had access to extra planar trade satchels on servers like Oakwind, because it's a real pain in the ass if you're trying to save, like, even just rusties, for example, so you can work on smithing. And what's easier than doing smithing than to get some sharpening stones and to sharpen some rusties into tarnished, and then use the tarnished, melting the tarnish down with a water flask in a forge and turning it into raw ore. And then you could use that raw ore and you can use it to make metal bits or steel boning or studs for studded armor, and the steel boning for reinforced armor. And reinforced armor is almost as good as banded, and it's half the weight. So if you've got like a high elf cleric or a high elf paladin on a server like Oakwind, or just whatever the new progression server is when you're watching my video, like maybe like 5 years from now, you know, remember that's an option. You could you studded. Stop whispering in my ear, Jesus. So that's one of the sound effects in this dungeon that I don't like, just because sometimes it gets too loud. Like, it's kind of cool, yeah, you know, it's like, okay, mysterious whispers. Oh, so there's a coffin in here, and it might be trapped. So I'm gonna have both of these characters chill behind for a sec. I'm gonna come here and see if I can't sense traps and disarm traps. Dark Coffin was not trapped. Okay, well, I'm gonna sense traps and disarm traps on it once more, because okay, so it's locked, and I think what I have to do is create a new hotbar so I can add pick locks to it. Oops, accidentally closed a hotbar. Wait. Okay, I have bars that I didn't know I had. There we go. Okay. So we're gonna do pick lock. It's here somewhere. I know there's a pick lock. There it is. Yeah, you can have a pick lock hot button. And now we're gonna put disarm traps back here again. And I'm actually gonna have a buttons here too. So look, I'm targeting the thing. Oh, I'm getting attacked. Well, we're gonna have to fight these guys first. Okay. They're killed. They're gone. It's over. Alright. Where's the stupid coffin? There it is. So, you come across this and it's locked. I think you could like swing to break it, but you can use a little finesse and just use pick lock you have failed to pick the coffin. So I'll just have to wait until it to cool down and pick it again. I have failed to pick the coffin. Is my pick locks not maxed out? Let us take a look here. Pick lock 240 out of 252. So it's almost maxed out. I wonder if I can break it. See, the thing is, I'm worried that if I break it, something else will happen. Or I won't get what's inside. Okay, so I did get what's inside. Sometimes, you know, you can end up causing more problems than whatever it is worth. And a globe of glowing evil. I really don't know what that is. And let's make sure my characters are back on auto follow, because I'd taken them off. Ooh, I need to redo the poisons. Okay, and then I turn my melody back on. And Dabriah's got her poisons still, so... Yeah, if you're wondering how I'm killing things quickly, as I am, well, all my characters have poison. Rogues can make poisons that they can give to other players. And rogues get really nice poisons themselves now. Unfortunately, you don't have access to those poisons on progression servers like Oakwind until much later. I think it was House of Thule when they come out. Not sure. Speaking of not sure, I just the other day rewatched Idiocracy. If you haven't seen that movie, check it out. It's hilarious. Great movie. It's where there's one of these clips that I like to use when I bring up the particular individual.
Hey! Is this particular individual the unfit mother?
Me? No.
Okay, this particular individual...
Because it's always a good time. So, why have I been stressed out? I know I'm like not really talking much about it, which I'm really just doing this video for some fun for me and to share with you guys, because I think you'll appreciate Dabriah and Dildaf here doing these crypts with their good friends. And so one reason why I've been feeling kind of crappy is that the channel started building up some steam. It started doing pretty good. And right when it started doing pretty good, wouldn't you know it, YouTube had banned and turned off my channel. It was completely removed and hidden and deleted or whatever. There wasn't, no videos would play. You couldn't find the pages, nothing. It was completely gone. And I was upset, yeah, at first. And I thought, well, let's see if there's a way to get it back. And I right away started digging in, to the information, thoroughly reading the email they had sent me. Allegedly, my channel had seriously violated the terms and conditions or something, or multiple times, just or severe. They said it was like severe violation. I'm like, dude, that makes it sound like really, really bad. And when I contacted them and filed my appeal, well, it turned out that it was supposedly a complete mistake. They send me this email basically saying, oops, sorry, and saying, it was just a mistake. I'm like, maybe you could make it to where it doesn't just happen as a mistake, because I could just imagine if there's someone out there that's like, already borderline something like personality disorder or something. They're just already seriously struggling with depression, and maybe they've been working on their channel for years. Maybe they just got monetized, and maybe YouTube has become their absolute livelihood and everything and their life. And then they wake up one morning and oops, yeah, it was deleted, and what if they don't have the ability at that moment to think rationally and say, well, maybe I can appeal and I'll get it back or something. Maybe they think, oh, it must have been something I did, like, for example, reaction videos. They're kind of risky, which is why I'm debating not doing them anymore. Reaction videos you're using copyrighted content, right? And yes, there is precedent where it's supposed to be allowed under fair use, but it's really up to the copyright owner if they really want to hit you with a strike or not. And I've seen other people reacting to things because, yeah, it could be kind of fun. You're watching some stranger react to a show that you love and you're passionate about. And you're like, yay, there's going to be a new fan for Buffy out there, or a new fan for whatever else, Xena or something, and it could be fun. It could be exciting. You're kind of reliving the experience yourself, and by their reactions, it could stir up nostalgia and memories. Like, oh yeah, I remember when I thought the same thing, or something like that, right? But again, it's all copyrighted stuff, and the owner could see it as like, yeah, no, this person is just going ooh ah and not really adding anything important to transform the original content into something new, which is supposed to sort of be a thing. Like, it's supposed to be somewhat transformative. And I will be the first to admit that I don't feel like my reactions really make anything transformative. And it's not on purpose or out of malice or anything. It's just sometimes, I'm so busy watching the show that I don't have an immediate reaction for it. And it's not until I kind of reflect at the end where I think of some of the stuff that I want to say. Not to mention, I've seen that, like, just doing a gut reaction right away isn't always good, because a few people get mad when I sort of criticize something. And even though, I'd like to say, even though I might criticize things at times, ooh, this one's got a shield. I think, yeah, it's going to be like a Defiant shield, I think. Even though I might criticize the show, I've been really enjoying doing the Buffy videos. But like I said, it's like, I get so few views on those that I don't think they're worth doing anymore. So I finished season 1. I reacted to all of season 1, which it'll end up on the channel probably before, like on YouTube, probably before this video ends up on YouTube. And I don't know if I'm going to continue. I know everybody's like, oh, you should. Season 2 is the best and everything. But why? Why am I going to continue if the risk of losing my channel is high and the rewards are so small? Like, I thought, yeah, maybe doing reactions is a way to sort of increase the viewer base, but it's really not bringing Buffy fans to my channel. If anything, some of the ones are just getting irritated at me because they don't like my reactions. I'm subpar in the reacting genre, I suppose. Or maybe it's that on occasion I can be a little critical of it. But I'm only being critical of things when I honestly feel like, okay, that seems like a plot hole. I'm not saying for a fact oh, without a doubt, this is a plot hole. Then this show sucks. No, I actually really like the show. You know, I'd watch it without doing reactions. But, you know, since I'm a YouTuber and I'd like to try to make content, I thought it was content worthy. So again, when I thought my channel was terminated, I really thought it was just because of the damn reaction videos. So that's one of the things right there. It's like, okay, so I started doing freaking reaction videos. One, that probably pisses off all my friends that came here just for Everquest and video game videos. You know, it's like you can't fault me for playing other video games because I'm never going to say this is an Everquest channel. That's why I didn't call it Fezzlewig's Everquest Extravaganza or something. I called it Fezzlewig's Forum because I want to play other games, man. I can get burned out on Everquest sometimes. In fact, I've been burned out on Everquest a couple of times while having this channel, and that's when I started playing City of Heroes and other games and Diablo and stuff. Or I even tried to do a video or two with City Skylines, but nobody was there to see me play City Skylines. And I get it, you know. It's not for everybody. And it's fine. Like maybe I won't do any more videos of City Skylines. However, there's City Skylines 2. I don't know if it's already out or not. But I wouldn't mind getting City Skylines 2 and maybe making a video of that. Like I did with Diablo 4. So I made a video for Diablo 4, and that should be out before this video is, I'm thinking, time-wise. So I got a level, I think. I am 54. Dabriah is now 54, along with Dildaf. So, ooh, there's a trap here. Sense trap, disarm trap. There we go. It exploded. So yeah, I want to do different games because also, you know, there's only going to be so many people there for Everquest stuff. You know, it's not like I don't want to make enemies of my friends, but it's not like World of Warcraft. Everquest has never had the presence of World of Warcraft, and it sucks because I think it could have. I think it could have surpassed World of Warcraft, and I'm not trying to make enemies of any WoW fans either. But EQ was out first. It's just that Sony Online Entertainment that ran EQ didn't seem to want to spend money in promoting it. If they did, I never saw any. I didn't hear about Everquest until some girl who was at a party at my house told me about it. And I was playing Diablo 2 at the time. So, just saying. I'm like, maybe that's how they thought Everquest would become popular, just word of mouth. I don't know. So I came to Everquest late because I had never heard of Everquest until this girl told me about it. And maybe had they had ads, I might have been there sooner. I don't know. Maybe it's good that I came later because I might have gotten so frustrated with it being so busy at first, and I heard it would crash a lot and there'd be tons of patches, and maybe I would have just been like, this sucks, and might have left. I don't know. I try not to rage quit anything, but I think I've rage quit a couple of things. Trying to think of something that I had rage quit. I rage quit a couple of shows. Like I think The Walking Dead I rage quit. So yeah. I never went back. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. Sorry, this sucks. Show is not for me. So I just left and never went back. And I don't need to know about it. I don't care. I really don't. I've heard a thing here and there from friends, and I'm always like, yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't really care. Thanks, but no thanks. I can't watch something that depressing. I think that's what it is, you know? It's like you start actually liking characters. And like even Game of Thrones, man, they killed some characters that I really, really cared about. But I still felt like there was a possibility for some kind of resolution that wasn't going to completely piss me off, you know? And yeah, I was wrong, because that last season, guys, you know, they kind of just rushed through it. They didn't care. They stopped caring. They got offered that Disney money, I think, to do like a Star Wars movie or something, and then they just wanted to leave. Meanwhile, they could have kept Game of Thrones going for another couple of seasons if they wanted. So I think I finished the dungeon already like a bit ago, but I always keep going until I feel like it's mostly cleared. So yeah, I'm probably not going to do reactions anymore. If I do, it might be a rare thing. I mean, unless somehow, by some magic, my season 1 of Buffy reaction starts getting me some viewers. But all the risk of potentially getting your channel deleted forever just for like 100 subs total, it's not worth it. It really isn't. Because I don't even know if I've had a full 100 subs from the reactions that I did. And yeah, maybe I just don't have the personality for reactions. I don't know. I might not have the personality in general to be a YouTuber. But I'm trying anyway. Just because it's like, technically, I don't have the personality to be an Uber driver. But I do that too. I fake it. And sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to pretend to be, friendly and social and interested in what strangers have to say when you work in the customer service industry. And that's what that is. It's, customer service. You want to try to make the people in your car happy. And considering that I average 5 stars and I get a decent amount of tips, I'd say I'm doing all right. If I was god awful, I'm sure I probably would have been terminated off the platform by now, right? But I'm pretty good at listening to others. Just on occasion, I get these folks that feel like they know absolutely everything, and while I never confront them, I don't stroke their ego. We try to give them the approval they seek either. I just get real quiet, and I let them talk all they want, because some folks just like to hear themselves talk. And I could, like I said, I could fake it. I could just be like, nod and smile. And that's about it, I just not always interested. I've had people try to get my approval when they admit to doing some really atrocious things, guys. Like, one person talked about how they were a drug dealer, and they seemed to want my approval on the matter. And I'm like, no. I didn't even say no, but I'm just thinking, yeah, I'm not going to stroke this human's ego because they want a stranger's approval that they just happen to be a drug dealer. I'm like, no, thank you, not interested. So yeah, there's folks do all kinds of weird stuff in my car. They admit to all kinds of weird stuff, all kinds of shenanigans, and I just try to roll with it, because if you start confronting people, they can get it just escalates stuff. They can get belligerent. They can get angry. They could try to do like Hulk smash. And I don't want anybody to smash me or my car. Whoa, where did all these people come from? Where are they? Oh, it's spiders. It's little spiders. I'm like, where the hell are these things? Because I hear us fighting stuff, but I don't see them. And there's these little stupid spiderlings on the ground. Oh, there's nobody in that tomb coffin thing. So, oh, there's one more. I guess we'll finish the video after this one. Maybe I'll wander around, see if there's anything else to kill. But I think it's about done. It's about complete. And we did get up to level 54, so that's nice. Ooh, we got some flawed chain gauntlets. I already have flawed chain gauntlets. Let's send it to Daisy. Maybe she'll be able to use it. So let's see. Daisy has ornate chain gauntlets. So the flawed is an upgrade. So going from 22 AC and 46 hit points to 28 AC and 60 hit points. And then some attack, some regen, some hit point regen, and mana regen. And +1 agility, heroic. So there we go. At least we got a piece of armor that was usable by the ranger. So yeah, I don't know, don't feel like I'm going to be doing reactions. Again, I'm never going to say anything that's like 100% sure. Somebody can make a plea that sees this video and say, no, I really like your reactions. Keep going, you know. To them, I would say it's kind of a big ask because, you know, like I said, the risk is outweighing the benefit right now. I'm not really seeing people join my channel for those videos. And it's funny because I watch other reactors sometimes, and I saw someone reacting to videos that I already reacted to, so I figured, hey, you know, it's fine, I've already seen this. And they were brand new, and they only had like maybe 200 subs, and they had just started the Buffy series around like episode 1 or 2 when I found them randomly. And it seemed like overnight they got 200 more subs, or 250 more subs. And I don't understand it. I don't know if it was because, you know, it was a pretty girl, pretty lady. And, you know, I know that sort of is a little bit of a thing sometimes because I'm human. I see pretty ladies sometimes on YouTube and I say, yes, I want to see what they have to say. So, you know, I'll follow them too. So maybe that's part of it, or maybe it's the way I present it. Maybe if somebody wants to say, hey, you're being a little too, you know, too tech savvy. You don't need to put all these extra things in there. Just have the review stand on its own, or just the reaction stand on its own. Because I know I have a habit of tossing in little pop culture references or little unrelated video clips that seem to be related at the time. because I find them funny. I find it humorous. Probably doesn't help that I'm a fan of Family Guy, and it's kind of like my version of a cutaway. And maybe there's some viewers out there that don't like that find it distasteful or unpleasant. So if that's the case, feel free to chime in, let me know. Like I said, I thought they were fun. I thought they were adding a little humor because I need all the help I can get because I'm not that fucking funny, guys. And I'm aware. I'm very self-aware. I'm like Joe from Idiocracy. I'm very, very average. There's nothing special about me. And maybe that's why a few people have actually started watching me. Because I'm not special. I'm not particularly funny or interesting. And I kind of resemble the average Joe. And if that's the case, then yay! Well, at least I excel at being average. I probably don't even excel at that. I'm probably just average at being average, guys. But whatever the case is, whatever made anybody start following me in the first place, I'd love to say thanks and thank you. It really, really, really means the world to me that someone is out there and listening. It kind of makes my day. It makes me smile. It makes me happy. I like and love comments. I've even answered negative comments, you know? Because if somebody has some criticism and it's valid, or they want to say, hey, I don't like the way you're doing this. I definitely don't love it. I'll be like, yeah, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe I could try to do it a little differently, or maybe I'm being too critical or something. And that's fine. I think everybody should have an opinion. Everybody should be allowed to have an opinion, whether it's good or bad, whether I agree with it or not. And don't expect me to always agree with your opinions. I don't have to. I'm not obligated. Even if you're paying, like on Patreon, and your opinion is different than mine, you know, I won't just agree with you just to agree. Yeah, I might be more willing to listen, but I don't know if I'm just gonna agree just to agree, because that's disingenuous. I still want to be who I am, and you have every right to be who you are, right? So I always like feedback. Like I said, even if it's negative, it doesn't matter. It's feedback. And I give negative feedback. So if I were to be against negative feedback myself, I would be what? What, guys? That's right. I would be a hypocrite. And I'd like to not be a hypocrite. I definitely don't want to be a hypocrite. So I'm fine with negative feedback. Again, I don't have to like the negative feedback, but I'm not going to like get angry and delete it or anything like that. Now, if it's offensive and people are saying, hey, this guy's just a dick or a troll, yes, I'll delete it. Sure, fine, yes, because nobody needs that, right? If someone's obviously just trolling, like if somebody said, Fezzelwig, your face looks like a vagina, I would say, no, if anything, it looks more like a penis. I'm sorry, I disagree, and maybe I would delete that. Or just something, I don't know. That's just an example, right? An extra silly example. But yeah, if I find it like if it's offensive and people are like, oh, I didn't like that, they said the V word or something, I'd be like, yeah, I guess, okay, maybe I could delete it. Or at the very least, see if I can hide it or something. Or just ask future people like, hey, don't say the V word or the P word, you know? I don't know. Was this useful or helpful to anybody? I don't know. Did it give an insight to anything in my head? Maybe. I rambled a lot. But I think it's therapeutic. And I enjoyed myself. I enjoyed doing this dungeon with Dabriah and Dildaf. Like I said, I got a level. I'm at 54. And I got to think of a couple of new zones to make a new poll for the next Adventures of Dabriah and Dildaf, and to decide where we go next. Thanks everybody for watching. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't. It does say that I'm getting a lot more viewers that are not subscribed. Like 70% of my views are from unsubscribed viewers. Check out the links down below. There's one for Twitter, one for Patreon, and one for Discord. And I'd really love it if people could join the Patreon, support what I do here, and support the channel. Have a great day and a wonderful tomorrow.